Sundarbans may be less blue. What is this less blue than it seems? So Sundarbans are actually storing blue carbon. So these are carbon sinks, right? So Sundarbans, they have these mangrove forests and they store blue carbon. Blue carbon is the carbon that is stored by coastal ecosystems, coastal or aquatic ecosystems. Like you'll have your mangroves, then you can have salt marshes, anything basically. So the coastal ecosystems, whatever carbon they store, that is blue carbon. So they are carbon sinks, they store a lot of carbon, and this carbon is actually stored on the surface also and below the surface also. So these are actually very important carbon sinks. They store more carbon than the normal forests also. So they store carbon over the surface also, a little carbon over the surface, like in the form of the dead leaves and branches and everything. But most of it is actually stored under, underground, like in the soil. So because we have all these marshy areas, there's a lot of mud, there's a lot of sediment. So a lot of carbon is actually stored below the surface in these mangroves, in these mangrove forests. So that's why they are so important carbon sinks, because they store a lot of carbon inside, like underground, in the below the surface, because the decomposition is taking place slower, there is low availability of oxygen. So for a very long time this carbon stays below the surface. So they have a lot of blue carbon that is actually stored subsurface. And now we are seeing that this study is actually about a research that was published, which says that now the blue carbon storing capacity, or the carbon, whatever carbon that mangroves are storing, more carbon is actually being generated. So it is not able to, it does not have the capacity to store that amount of carbon. So it is storing whatever carbon it could store, but now more and more carbon is also being produced. And this research is actually telling us how is this additional carbon being produced and why the mangroves are suffering in basically storing this carbon. So when we talk about the additional sources, first of all, Sundarban is the world's largest contiguous mangrove forest, right? It is on the confluence of Ganga and Brahmaputra rivers. So we have these mangrove forests. Now researchers from IISER Kolkata, they have reported that microplastics could interfere with the natural food web and alter the carbon budget of Bay of Bengal. So how is this additional carbon being generated? Because of microplastics.